Sports Eugene.
Portions of this show are recorded. Strap in and be prepared.
I love growing the game. I can guarantee you, any other West Coast team that's watching this, I'm sure USC is gnashing their teeth right now saying, how come we couldn't have thought of this first?
Interesting guests.
It's Kelly Graves, Mike Parker, Coach Mark Waskowski, Melissa Lombardi, Max Torres, El Toro joining us.
Sharp opinions.
I think if you're a supporter of the NBA, that you should at least have some level of interest in the WNBA, because the things that interest you as a NBA fan should still interest you as a WNBA fan. That's just my opinion.
And some smiles.
Can you guess what position I played in football?
Left out?
No, I did not. Yeah, exactly. I did think about that for a second. But yes, actually, I did not play. I was not big enough.
Goose tried to kill me today on the golf course.
Advance warning was given. It just apparently was not heard.
Okay. I will dispute that in a court of law.
It's Danny Havel.
If you're driving and you're trying to do this in your head, pull off the side of the road. I don't need any accidents.
Justin Grossweiner.
I love to hear a coach go, we're going to focus on that bad 4-game stretch the rest of the season. We will never do that again.
That might be a good point.
I don't know. I mean, maybe you could do that. Maybe that's another strategy.
Danny and Justin starts now on Fox Sports Eugene and Fox Sports Newport.
Hello, neighbors. Welcome. High top the Delta Triad. The Bigfoot Beverages Studios, Fox Sports Eugene, Fox Sports Newport. It's getting toasty outside, but it's a nice, cool 71 degrees inside. Yay, us! Hey, we made it past the Monday. It's a Tuesday here on the Danny and Justin radio program. We will have the mayor of Rip City, Travis Demers, the voice of the Blazers, on because the Blazers have made news off the court. That'll be on the court. We'll talk about it. You probably already know about it, but we're going to talk about it anyway. Brendan Sorsby. Well, it just doesn't get any better for Brendan Sorsby. This is 9 shows left of the Danny and Justin radio program. And we'll have a little discussion about that because my phone was blowing up. Woody's phone was blowing up. I'm going to explain a couple of things to you today, kids. Right over there sitting in the producer's chair. Well, let's welcome back Hawk. It's Dominic. I'm Doc, otherwise known as Danny. And to our right, it's Justin Grossweiner. We call him Baby J. What up,
It's
boy?
great to have the producers back. We were getting a little bit lonely. Felt like we had about a week and a half. Maybe it was like 2 weeks there because Goose hasn't been in studio in a bit. Do you know if Goose is going to be here this Friday?
Goose is an affirmative, according to what I know. Now so he was in Des Moines one week. Kid, mama.
Des Moines?
Yeah, I could say Des Moines. Looking at Drake University, making sure it was still there, 'cause that's where his kid's going to school. And then last week they were, I think it was a birthday weekend, and they were up in Seattle. Caught a Mariners game. He's been just like a world traveler. He's been ignoring us. I'm a little disappointed, but that's all right. His record has suffered.
That was him.
That was would you turn your radio?
I did. That was him saying he was to be here on Friday.
Yes. So Goose will be in. He was up there just hanging out and having a good time, living the life. He is a man about town, a vent, as they say, a suave and a boner person. So World Cup's going on. We'll talk about that. Justin obviously wants to talk about World Cup. NBA drafts tonight. First 4 picks, Wizards, Jazz, Grizzlies, and Bulls. Bulls have a couple of picks in the first round. Will they move off of one of those? One of those came through Portland, by the way. So the Blazers, no picks in the NBA draft. But they made some news off the floor, and that's why we're going to bring in the mayor of Rip City, Travis Demers, as they made a coaching hire. But we'll save that for when Travis gets on, and we can talk a little bit right before the end of this segment about that, because there's plenty of other things to talk about. You want to start with Mr. Sorsby?
Absolutely. The guy we can't stop talking about. I know your favorite. But how can you not talk about this? This is awesome.
This is, you know what this is? This is a big old dose of karma. This is karma planting flat in your lap.
Yeah, the NFL said, no.
So this whole thing was FUBAR from the get-go. First of all, Cincinnati not saying anything to a school that was going to land the transfer school not asking Brendan Sorsby, hey, is there anything maybe that could come up? Anything that could come up maybe that, like a bad tweet from a couple of years ago where you at a party, is somebody going to have you on video, kicking a dog or, no, because you have to, listen, because if you think they're not going to ask those questions when you sit in a room with NFL GMs and head coaches. You're out of your mind. They're going to go up you like Roto-Rooter when you get into that. When they're going to be handing you millions of dollars, they want to know everything. Now, I'm not saying that they don't care, but if they know about it, they'll pick and choose what they want to care about, which I don't think is great, but whatever. Talent sometimes overcomes your character flaws. But Brendan Sorsby's not going to play in the NFL in 2026. Why?
Because he's been denied into the supplemental draft. They said, we're not going to do that for you.
We're not going to hold a supplemental draft.
Supplemental draft? Never heard of her.
Is this a girl that rejected you at one time? So the NFL source tells the 4-letter ESPN the application had a lot of issues. They sent Tom Pelissero got a hold of the letter the NFL sent to Brendan Sorsby, and I just have to say it's comical. Whoever is advising this kid, man, get some different people from the jump. Don't you think, guys?
Yeah. Oh, I mean, it's just like step after step. It's just been like stepping on his own foot.
Comedy of errors. This is Keystone Cop stuff. This is clown car stuff that's going on right now. And this is where I have some empathy for this kid because he is like staining his reputation to a point where it's almost beyond repair. This guy's going to be, if the XFL was around still, are they still around? They're not around yet.
I don't think so.
That's where he'd be playing, the only place he could play. Right. I don't even think the CFL will touch him right now.
You know what I foresee in the future, Danny? I see a 7-part documentary unfolding in front of our eyes.
Netflix is looking at
this is going to be untold. This is going to be one of those untold
We're living through
things.
history, everybody.
So here it is. Brendan Sorsby is now a man without a country and a man without a league.
Yeah.
So,
sorry.
No, John.
I found it, honestly, excuse me, like you're saying, comical, because they said the league does not have a complete record of the NCAA's investigation, and you provided no such material with your petition adding information of what has been going on. And they just said his petition didn't address any of the gambling things, anything going on with the NCAA, basically just trying to sweep that under the rug and then go to the NFL.
And he applies 3 business days before the deadline, which is like, dude, we were your parachute. Well, guess what? It didn't open.
Calvin Ridley, we shouldn't be surprised.
Come out in support of Sorsby?
No, I'm just saying was suspended, I think it was a year for betting on NFL games in 2022. Jameson Williams had a 6-game suspension for placing mobile bets on non-NFL sporting events as well. So this is an organization. This isn't the NCAA. This isn't a teethless NCAA. This is the NFL, and the NFL does not play about this sort of stuff. And I don't think that there was any way, like you're saying, his representation should have thought that he was going to go to the NFL, and they were going to be like, yeah, sure, come here. This is your out right here.
Yeah, NFL keeping it real.
They did,
boys. And they just gave a dose of reality to Brendan Sorsby and his family. And again, we're making some tongue-in-cheek stuff in here. I do want to acknowledge and recognize that this is a human being. This is a young man who's made some horrible decisions. But there's always a path to redemption. I think what he should do is come clean on everything. Mm-hmm. On everything. What you did, when you did it, how you did it. And I think he's done some of that already. But then just accept his punishment instead of trying to find friendly judges, and that didn't work. So this whole thing cascaded, and I believe in my heart of hearts that if Texas Tech really would have had the best interest in this young man, they would have gotten out in front of this long before and fallen on a sword in front of the NCAA. Listen, if the kid would have had to sit out a year because of the gambling thing, then sit out the year and then play another year after that, practice with the team, and I don't know what avenue that could have been availed to him, but the way this was gone about, it literally imploded his career. He is going to end up like Johnny Manziel.
He's going to be known more for this than what his playing career is.
I was getting Manziel vibes from this also.
Yeah, it was all about that. I mean, an incredibly talented but immature individual.
Have you heard of the movie One False Move?
Yes.
I think that's a perfect analogy. I think he just
hit it on the head.
He made one mistake, and by doubling down and tripling down, it's just gotten worse and worse and worse.
See, and here's the reason why I think I use the word immature. is the NFL even put out there, their general counsel said that the petition by Sorsby to go into a supplemental draft did not even demonstrate, and this is a quote, demonstrate accountability for your conduct or indicate whether or how you would adhere to the league's rules and policies governing the integrity of competition. So see, that to me is that if you have a good lawyer, and I'm pretty fortunate, I've got a couple of I got Ben Carney, who's my business lawyer, who's awesome. I can say that. He can't. We remember when we had Ben on? It was funny. He said, Danny, I can't say that, It was really...
There was a lot of things he was saying you couldn't say.
No, he couldn't say. And I've got an FCC attorney. I've got people who give me great advice. Somebody should have given him some advice. You have to be contrite. You have to show that even though you're not rehabilitated totally, you're reformed, and you accept your actions, and you're still working on them. This is what I'm going to do to keep working on them over and over, and I will abide by any other restriction you want to put on me. I will welcome it. Bring it on. I will take it all because I'm accountable now.
And I don't know if I'm mistaken. I could be wrong about this. I'm surprised there hasn't been a very well-known father somewhere along the line here that's been, publicly saying it. Has there been anything from his parents or anything like that? Because
I haven't heard.
You would think there'd be a strong parent in there somewhere.
They've been mute.
Yeah, kind of. Makes you question him a little bit, doesn't it?
Listen, we could go down that rabbit hole, but I just think about the young man. How old is he?
22 or 23. Yeah,
he's so young. Kid. If I had a chance to look at him and talk to him, I would just say, stop. Stop fighting this. You are trying to run into a wave that's crashing over you. Or run away from the wave. You should run into the wave, just get it over with, rip the Band-Aid off, and then move on. He's not moving on. He's trying to relitigate this over and over again.
Yeah, and when it first came out, I think people were like, okay, he's betting on games, and then it was like, oh, well, he's betting on Indiana to win. But I think when it came out that he bet on their starting quarterbacks under in passing yards in a game, and then the next year he bet on the under of Indiana to score points in the first half, I think that's where it was it was already bad. I think, but then it was proven that he was betting on his own
things
team.
that like insider trading. It's insider information.
100%.
It's the one thing in sports that I think we all have basically universal agreement on. We disagree on a lot of things. You and I, everybody involved in sports. But the one thing I think we can all agree on, that we want it to be legitimate, that there's no conflict of interest.
No shaving points.
Exactly. Think about the Black Sox. These are stories that are as old as sports themselves.
And what comes down to? Greed. Greed. You want something that you don't have, and it comes down to money. Money, money, money. And in our society, we've now legislated gambling. We've now legislated. I'll just tell you the best way you can gamble, just give me your money. I'll take your money, and I'll tell you, you look pretty or look handsome or whatever. You're going to get more out of that than putting it down on something that the house mostly wins. There's a reason why casinos are huge, and they have lights all over the place and music. And it's because you're paying for all of that when you go to a blackjack table or a slot machine. I'm just as bad as everybody else. I play Powerball and Mega Millions and Mega Bucks when it gets to a certain point. Yeah, who wouldn't want to have millions of dollars? You don't get a chance to do it unless you play. But there are people that lose their lives over gambling.
Yeah. And it's a really serious thing. And that's honestly a level of frustration I've had with this whole thing, is that they've sort of used that as a sword and shield of but we're rehabilitating him.
Baby J. Absolutely agree.
He's just a guy that needs help and we want to help him. It's no, that's not what they're doing.
Your self-interests are overriding that. 100%. And that was why that was a clown show with those 5 guys sitting around the brain trust of Texas.
Be a great photo for that.
Oh my gosh, it was hilarious. So coming up, Travis Demers, the mayor of Rip City, Micah Nori is the new head coach for the Blazers, and the contract is bizarre, and we'll discuss that with the mayor. And no draft picks for the Blazers, so it's going to be kind of muted unless there's going to be a trade. The Giannis trade to Miami, Vegas called it, and he rubbed it in your face. because you thought it was going to be Boston. I thought it was going to be Boston. I thought the Blazers might get a piece of that, like with a Jaylen Brown or something like that.
Definitely think that's worth asking the mayor about.
I think that's a great question. We'll ask him.
It's interesting how they weren't, because it seems – I think there's something to be said about how much are lottery picks worth at this point, because – I think that's where the conversation has to be started, because the way that the lottery has changed, and there's the bottom 3 teams have a worse odds than the next. I think it's like 8 or 9 teams.
Okay.
So looks like Miami but the Bucks decided, hey, we'd rather take picks in this situation, pick 13 tonight, as well as a couple of first rounders in the future, and that could be, if you're the number 1 odds team, you can end up at 10. I mean, there is no guarantee at this point where you're going to end up in the draft. So I find it very interesting that's the road they went down. Rather than getting Jaylen Brown and 2 first-round picks, I mean, that sounds like a really good place to start for me. So I'm not super thrilled, honestly, on either side with this, and that's why I thought the Celtics had the better offer. But, hey, the Bucks put their money where their mouth is, and they put their money on the young players in the draft.
They got as much as they could possibly have gotten for Giannis, because he was going to leave anyway.
Yeah, I think there's like 2 ways to look at it. I think the Jaylen Brown route, it's like, okay, then you're trying to win now again, right? Like, you get Jaylen Brown,
right?
Let's put
and your
pieces around.
timeline's like 3 years back, right?
And I think with the route they took with Hero and Jaime Jaquez and the 3 first rounders, I think it's a complete rebuild. I told and the also thing with the Heat, it's like, so the Heat now have 2 players, great defense, can't really shoot. I just saw a report today from Windhorst that they're most likely going to lose Norman Powell unless he takes a massive pay cut.
Oh, that's huge for them.
So he said there's no way the Heat can afford Powell unless he takes a pay cut to play with them.
That's awful.
So then
for
it's
them.
like the Heat now just have Bam Adebayo and
Davian Mitchell, Wiggins, and then
I told my
Minimus.
friends we had the Splash Brothers, the Slash Brothers, and now we have the Brick Brothers and Bam Adebayo and Giannis.
Pretty good. And by the way, Tyler Hero's still on Miami.
No, Bucks.
Oh, went to the Bucks.
He's kind of the centerpiece, if you will, of that trade, even though he's a guy that
he can't. God bless him. He couldn't defend my dearly departed great grandmother.
Yeah, there you go.
Okay,
there you go.
I mean,
and you're trading away Giannis, who's one of the best defenders in the NBA.
So that's an interesting.
Bucks will be irrelevant.
That's a very interesting trade. So that's really the big news. Later on in the program, we're going to talk. We talked about gambling. Mm-hmm. We want to talk about this 2x2x2. We want to talk about Ronaldo with 2 goals because he was a part of that. World Cup. We'll leave World Cup for the last segment because we're almost up against time here with the mayor of Rip City. And also, we need to explain ourselves after our announcement yesterday that, yes, on July 3rd, there will be the last Danny and Justin radio program. And I think people, and that's literal, there will be no more Danny and Justin radio program. But I think we need to tease some other things. I think you're going to be happy about that. So we will discuss all of those things in the last segment. Fox Sports Eugene, Fox Sports Newport, the Bigfoot Beverages Studios. Thanks for lending us your ears. Stay tuned. Scintillating conversation with the silky smooth voice of your mayor, my mayor, our mayor, Travis Demers of Rip City. And the voice of the Blazers next on the Danny and Justin radio program. All right, kids, the Danny and Justin radio program rolls on here from the Bigfoot Beverages Studios. We're going to talk the news that we dropped yesterday. 9 more shows left in the Danny and Justin radio program. We'll explain that a little bit better for you. I think people were misconstruing the message, but it's true. Yes, 9 more programs. We'll end with a blast talking about the Prefontaine Classic at the Graduate. Come down and join us. We'll have a little after party up at Laurelwood. On Friday, July the 3rd, there will be fireworks, just like there is tonight, as at 4 p.m., the NBA draft starts, and I think the consensus #1 pick to the Washington Wizards, if they don't mess it up, is pretty much decided. Let's head on over to the Oregon Man Clinics hotline at 541-343-5673 and welcome in our good friend, the mayor of Rip City. You can follow him on the socials at Travis Demers. Mayor, how's the lawn?
It's great. I actually did a lot of work out there yesterday. It's looking a lot more green. It is really coming along.
That a boy. Picture, please. So send us a picture whenever you can.
I will.
All right, beautiful. All right, bud.
I am redoing the caulk in my bathroom. And that, I tell you what, man, that is a pain in the neck to do.
So are you
all the old stuff out?
Oh yeah, no, that's a pain. So are you in there right now?
I am actually.
Okay.
I'm gonna get out of here in just a second, but yes.
Are you using like a Dremel tool for it, or are you just trying like to peel it out?
I've got a
Home
plastic
improvement here.
scraper. I've got a razor blade, and I've got this tool that's like to scrape out the caulk on one end, and then on the other end, make it smooth for when you put the new stuff in.
Yeah. So.
But I also got that the Goo Gone brand stuff that softens it up.
Yeah. And that works, doesn't it? Yeah.
It does, yeah. I mean, it is a pain in the neck, and it is very tedious, but, you got to do what you got to do.
Yeah, you don't take on the easiest projects, Mayor, but
no.
God bless you.
Somebody's got to do it.
Home improvement here on the Danny and Justin radio program. See, whenever you want to get rid of those things, those nasty, the bad caulking that you have around things, that you got the mayor to help you out. All right. Well, we've got
cash or Venmo.
we've got a new head coach, at least for a second, in the Portland. We'll talk about this contract in a second, and I'm sure he's probably a fine coach. He's been around a little bit. Micah Nori was announced today as the head coach of the Blazers. He's got a wild persona on the sideline, apparently. Grew up in Middletown, Ohio. Coaching career started with the Raptors, 4 seasons under Dwayne Casey, Sacramento in 2013, Michael Malone. He's worked for some pretty interesting fellows as well, including fellow assistant Chris Finch. So talk your first impressions on this hire.
Well, there are a lot of things that I've heard about this guy that are great. His personality. He's been around the league a long time. I talked to someone. I can just say it because it's not a big deal. I talked to Chuck Sorsby, who's the Bulls radio announcer last week when he heard about this, and he was asking me about Tiago Splitter before the hire was announced. When Chuck was in Toronto before he got the Bulls job, like you mentioned, Micah Nori was there, and Chuck got to know him a little bit. Said he's a great guy. Glowing reviews. Everything that I've heard about Micah Nori is that he's a great guy. Mad scientist type. Sometimes those guys can be a little tough to deal with. It does not sound like that is his MO. It sounds like everything there is, the personality, really good dude. So that's great. And also, I don't know if you saw any of this stuff, but he also has quite the baseball pedigree in his family.
No, I didn't hear this.
So his dad was a coach. So he actually played baseball at Indiana University, and then he was an assistant there. He was actually the hitting coach for the Indiana Hoosiers in 2005 before he went to the Raptors. And his dad is actually the one who recruited Kyle Schwarber to go play at Indiana. So there was a long baseball history with Micah Nori before the basketball stuff and along with the basketball stuff.
Well, I was about to say as well, I guarantee you he knows Kyle Schwarber. I didn't even know about that connection because Micah Nori is from Middletown, Ohio, as Kyle Schwarber is as well. So I guarantee you they're familiar with each other there. But interesting.
And when I meet him, I can be like, hey, I shared an elevator with Kyle Schwarber in Houston back in March during the World Baseball Classic, and I looked at him and I said, that kind of looks like Kyle Schwarber. He is way too short to be Kyle Schwarber. So I looked it up, and he's 5'11". I'm like, oh, God, that is Kyle Schwarber.
No, he's a big man, but not in height. He is a strong young man. But I think this is an interesting situation with Micah Nori, obviously, with the contract. I know Danny wants to get in that a little bit more. But as much as anything for this team, isn't it nice to have a situation now where it's kind of settled? Like there was the Chauncey stuff, and then even at the end of the year, there was a little bit of non-certainty about whether or not Tiago Splitter was going to be back. But now you got your guy, and this team can kind of just move forward.
Well, I mean, yes, there is still a little bit of uncertainty in some ways. Obviously, the contract, and we'll get into that. But, Chauncey is still employed. So while, yes, Micah Nori is the head coach, and, that's not changing. Chauncey is still employed. So that he's still hanging over their heads in that regard. So, that kind of just is what it is. And, by all accounts, Micah Nori was the guy who was on a number of lists. He was on the Mavericks list before they went with Dusty May, which, I think is a terrible decision. And because of that kind of freed up Nori to be the Trailblazers head coach. So I think a lot of things worked out in the Blazers' advantage in that some things that maybe they didn't necessarily play it the right way, but it worked out anyway, which is awesome. And they got their guy, and they can move on and have a little bit of stability.
So we're with the mayor of Rip City. It's Travis Demers on the Danny and Justin radio program. Thanks for tuning in wherever and however on the coast as well. Fox Sports Newport down here in the Valley, Fox Sports Eugene. I do want to talk about the contract. It just struck me as just odd, as there aren't very many coaches that'll take a head coaching position unless they're in interim status and they know something's coming down the pike. To sign a 1-year deal, that's the only year that's guaranteed with team options for the next 2 years. So I don't know. I mean, from the outside looking in, is Micah Nori just saying, I want a head coaching job so bad that I'll just take whatever I'm going to I can get?
It's easy to look at it and say that.
Okay.
I don't know him. I don't know what he's thinking, so I can't answer that for him. But considering his age, he's in his mid-50s, and he's been in these situations before and has not gotten a head coaching job. If this is a situation where it's like, I'm getting old, is this my last chance? Do I got to take what I can get? I'm going to bet on myself and win, so I'm just going to do it. Yeah, I can definitely see that being the situation. I don't know what the money is. I haven't seen that. Obviously, we've seen the reports about the years and all of that. And if that's the situation, I know if it was me and I'm in my mid-50s and I finally have a chance to be an NBA head coach and they're going to say, you've got 1 year to prove it, I'm betting on myself. But the type of competitor that he is, it sounds like, maybe he's willing to do the same. And I like that about him.
Yeah, I 100% agree with that. You got to bet on yourself, and sometimes it's looking over the precipice, looking over into the abyss, and wondering if you're going to jump in and never come back out again. But yeah, you're given an opportunity. There's only a handful of these jobs in any professional sport to be the head coach. So let's talk about what he has to work with. And right now, no draft picks for the Blazers tonight. As of now, you never know what Trader Joe is going to do in this situation, but I doubt he's going to move into a draft situation. So what does Micah Nori have to work with? If the Blazers kind of stay pat, I mean, does this fit into – I know you haven't had a lot of time, but does it kind of fit into his style? I mean, can he work with these ingredients?
Yeah, I think he can work with anything. The type of guy that he is style, sure, he's worked with a number of different head coaches. He's been in a number of different situations. But, I don't know if you've seen any of those videos where, like, he has, this layout of what it takes to stop every single star in the NBA. And, that's good, right? You need that, right? You need to be able to have, those things to stop the best players in the league. You got to be able to play defense. And we see what defense does. And, yes, you have to win. You have to be able to score and not make mistakes, but you got to be able to stop the opponent. And when the Blazers were at their best, it was because of their defense. And some of that was because of Chunky Billups. Some of that was because of Thiago Splitter and his staff. Some of that was because of the guys that were there. So I think those things are great, right? And you have the length, you have the switchability, you have, the defense, all of that stuff. I would expect there to be some movement on this roster, right? I'd be really surprised if there is not. What that means, I don't know exactly, but I would expect, was Giannis ever a real possibility? I don't know, but he's off the table. Was Jaylen Brown ever a real possibility? I don't know. Is he still? I don't know, but they're going to do something. But for the sake of argument, if they don't, the only players that are not under contract for the upcoming season are Matisse Thybulle and Robert Williams III, and you get Dame back. So, you have basically the same team as last year, which I think took a big step this year, and I think will continue to take big steps. I think getting some new eyes in there and, new voices is great. And now you add Dame to that mix when one of the biggest areas of weakness last year, if not the biggest, was shooting. Is a better basketball team today than they were last year, even if they do not make any moves.
And look no further than the Knicks to see that sometimes get a new coach, keeping a lot of continuity. Obviously, the Knicks did make some changes, but for the most part, pretty similar team to what it was last year. You can make some big steps. You mentioned the Giannis move and the fact that the Blazers obviously had the Bucks picks. There was a lot of reason to think the Bucks might want the Blazers involved. I think it actually raises a really interesting conversation what the Bucks did. They didn't go after Jaylen Brown, and I think it was reported to be a couple of first-round picks from Boston. They decided to go the route of getting all the stuff, if you will, from Miami, plus a first-round draft pick this year. I believe it's 13, and then a couple of first-round picks. Thanks. A couple of first-round picks in the future. So it makes me kind of wonder. Obviously, the lottery odds are changing. There's going to be that relegation zone. How do you think teams are viewing these first-round draft picks in the future and these potential lottery picks? Because the Bucks decided, hey, we're not going to get our own picks and tank. We're going to take some other stuff and some other teams' picks. Like, how do you think teams are looking at these lottery selections now?
I don't think they know. I think that's a big part of it. It's like until you've been in these situations and you have a year or two of data, I don't think you really know how to handle that. Are they still valuable? Sure. Or do you have as good of a chance to get a top level pick? No, but again, that's also like if teams are really bad for an extended period of time, right? But also now if these picks are in the back end of the lottery, you've got a greater chance of moving up, which I think in some ways it makes those, 11 to 14 or 11 to 16 spots more valuable than they were. It devalues the top level picks a bit. But now those late lottery picks are more valuable than they were before.
It is the mayor of Rip City, Travis Demers, joining us on the Danny and Justin radio program live on the coast in Fox Sports Eugene as well. Fox Sports Newport over there in the Newport area, of course, KNCU. So let's turn our attention to, the draft itself. Tonight, Washington's got that first pick. Looks like Trae Young's going to be there for a while. So, that's what it looks like to me.
They certainly
He's
committed
not
to
going
him.
anywhere. 4 years, $212 million. I don't know how you're going to move off of that. He's 27 years old.
You can't.
No.
It's impossible.
I saw Windhorst say today that the only way they'd be able to move him is if they traded him and pick one.
Yeah, I saw that, and he's not wrong. In fact, that Brian Windhorst, who does not give any controversial takes about anything, comes out and says that, that tells you exactly what you need to know. And your point earlier about the Wizards screwing it up, I saw a video today from, 2011, right at the draft, where it's like, Jay Billis is talking about how, the Wizards could potentially be in line to take Kawhi Leonard, and they take Jan Vesely instead. Like, that's the Wizards. It always has been.
So, the consensus number one is this kid from BYU, right?
Yeah,
Debansa. Is he that good?
Yeah.
Do you think he's a franchise type centerpiece type of player?
Maybe. The kids from Kansas, Darren Peterson, there are questions about, his drive and his character and all that stuff. But, there was that stuff out at Ace Bailey last year, too. And he still, went with a pretty good pick. I'm not as dialed in with the draft this year for a couple of reasons. One of them being the Blazers don't have a pick, so I haven't really dove in that way. And also, we're not doing a draft show, so I'm not all in the way that I usually am. Usually, I'm all about the NBA draft. But by all accounts, it's a good draft, a really good draft. But we've heard that before, and sometimes it works out and sometimes it doesn't. So. Yeah, I think we know that, Peterson and Debansa are probably going to be the guys that go early in this draft. Will there be trades? We've seen a couple of big trades in the NBA the last couple of days. I think you'll see more tonight. To me, that's more intriguing than what we're going to see with the picks, because I think, this year that's the more important thing right now is, what players that can contribute today are going to end up on different teams by the end of the night.
So I've been looking at a lot of mock drafts. Justin's going to be probably just shocked at this, and I pulled the last one that I looked at right now. It's just what drew me immediately, in a lot of mock drafts, the first 11 players coming off the board, all freshmen. Are we just going to start rolling strollers up and, having binkies on the sidelines? Because it's it's young, really young players coming into the league. Has that been a trend, Travis, in recent years?
Yeah, that's just kind of how it's been. Look at the last handful of drafts. The one difference that you just mentioned that is different from the last few years is the lack of internationals this year. right? You don't have the international guys. But you look at the international players, whether it be Wemby or other guys that were, 20 years old or 19 years old. It's been that way because the players that go do the one-and-done thing, they're generally the more talented players. And if you're talking about a guy who's been in college for 2, 3, 4 years, now he's 21, 22 years old instead of 19 or 20, and you're getting an older player who probably is, going to be the guy that he's going to be without as much improvement. And, the guys that come out right away, those are generally the more talented players.
The guy that's fascinating in this conversation is Yaxel Lenderborg, of course, from the Michigan Wolverines. Dusty May, his head coach, is now going to be a head coach of the Mavericks because he's going to be 24 years old, but he's so good. He's like one of the rare prospects where I think teams are looking at him like, okay, like maybe he's still worth it to get, regardless of that. I think also fans should look out for the second round, which, by the way, is going to be tomorrow. They split it up into 2 days. I think that it's going to be interesting to see. I completely agree. Not everything has to be the NFL draft. But right. I think it's interesting how the guys that basically typically would have been second-round picks, a lot of them have gone back to college. They're taking these NIL deals. I think it's actually thinned out a lot of the second round. I kind of want to bring the Blazers back into this because we had Chris Burkhardt on, was it last week, Daniel?
Yes, it was last Friday.
And I asked him about the draft and the potential of the Blazers moving into it, and he gave a great answer of one of the reasons why, of course, everybody knows the Blazers have a harder time getting free agents. Like, doesn't it make sense in theory for the Blazers to? I mean, they don't have a ton of like cap problems or anything like that. They're not going to be running into the luxury tax. But in theory, wouldn't it potentially make sense to make a move into the first round at some point?
The first round or the second round?
First round.
Okay, so I don't think so. I don't think there's anything wrong with what Chris said. I think in a lot of years, yes, right? But if you're going to do that, obviously you have to give something up, and you have future picks and things like that. If you're going to do that, it better be for someone that you love, and you have to have this guy. If it's just for a guy that, you're taking a flyer on, you think, oh, maybe, you don't do that. You're not giving up future assets, and it's not necessarily that you're giving up future picks that could really be good for you. You're giving up currency. And with this team that is trying to make a jump, the currency is more important than taking a flyer on a guy when, at this point, you don't have the roster spaces anyway. Like I said, you've got 2 open roster spots. First-round picks are guaranteed money. So are you going to draft somebody in the back end of the first round that is just going to sit and develop with a roster spot when that's currency that you can use in another deal later down the line to maybe get someone who can help now? No, you're not going to do that. The other part of that is, okay, well, you could draft someone that you think is going to be, ready to play and compete right now. Okay, well, if that's the case, you're giving up more to get that guy, and you're not getting him at 27. You probably have to get him at 10 or 14 or something like that. So in some years, also depending on the roster situation, like I said, yes, it makes sense. I don't think it makes any sense to do that this year. It doesn't mean they won't. But I think the way that we tend to look at that from the Blazers' perspective, I don't think this is the year that we see them do that.
All right, Mayor, last question for you, and we can't let you go without getting your opinion on the Giannis trade, and I'll ask it this way. Is Miami better than Boston now with this trade?
No.
Okay.
No.
I've got a better question.
Okay.
Is Miami better than the Bucks were with Giannis?
Yeah, probably, because you look at what the Bucks were with Giannis. Okay, you have Bobby Portis, who is at the end of his career. He is a role player. He's a good guy to have on your team, but at this point, he is absolutely a role player. Bam Adebayo is better than any player that the Bucks had. So that alone is better than what the Bucks were. Norm Powell had a terrific year last year. Davion Mitchell, he's pretty good, but there's a reason why Sacramento got rid of him as quickly as they did. He's also a role player. If he is starting for you, that's a problem. I just don't think they have any depth. And the depth that they have, we've seen how important depth is in the NBA playoffs. Are they better than the Celtics? No, they're not better than the Knicks. They're not better than the Cavs as they're currently constructed. They're not better than the Pistons. Miami just gave up a lot of guys to go maybe have a home court advantage in the first round.
That's dangerous. You want to talk about stepping on a tightrope? That is exactly what Pat Riley did with Miami. He wants to hit it out of the park. He made the splash. So we'll see how it all shakes out. Mayor, as always, bud, it's a pleasure to catch up with you, get a few home improvement tips, some lawn tips, and then we talk NBA. You're the best, buddy.
I appreciate you guys. I'm always here.
There he is. We can hear him in his bathroom. Get back to scraping that caulking.
Can you hear me scraping this stuff?
I can, actually. Take
I'm
care.
not distracted, I promise.
When we come back, we'll talk about the 2x2x2 and a cash out at 90-1 here on the Danny and Justin radio program. Feel like I'm at a rave. Probably just took something I shouldn't.
In like the 2000s. Can you confirm or deny? Hawk? What does a rave sound like in 2026 for you young people?
Not this. A lot more house music.
That's what I was thinking. But it was a good try though, Danny.
Okay. Okay. I just lost my train of thought because I've got my wife texting me while I'm on the air, so I can't answer her right now. So let's talk about this. We were talking about gambling before, right?
Yeah,
Brendan Sorsby,
right?
And then we've got something that just comes across the wire here about this has actually happened twice now. Messi, Haaland, and who's the other one? The third one? Mbappe. They
all play on the same day.
They all play on the same day. So there was a prop bet out there that each one of them scored 2 goals. So all 3 of them have to score 2 goals apiece. And it was like at 98-1 odds. It has hit twice. The first time some guy cashed out like $77,000. And so if you don't know how gambling works, if I bet $1 on it, I'd win 90. So you bet $10, you win 900. You bet $100, you win 9,000. Just do the math. 90-1 odds, and it's hit twice.
Well, it's the one that makes you mad, right? Because it happened that first time. It's like, wow, 2 goals from each of these guys. That's amazing. And then it happens again. You're like, huh? Like maybe could have put $10 on that. Like wouldn't have been much of a commitment. I could have made like a bunch of money. And then, Dom.
Oh, I was gonna say, well, do you want to go or
no? What's your thoughts?
I saw the one this morning. I might be stealing your thunder here. Where some guy did the same one and they added Ronaldo 2 goals, and it was $5 for 2,100, and he cashed out for $15
total.
What?
Why would you do that?
Well, because you're not sure that one leg's going to hit.
It's a $5 commitment.
I know. It's insane.
all right.
And it gives you something
down
to root,
there, baby Jay.
It gives you something to root for. I don't understand that at all.
I mean, we could be talking to the person who cashed out.
No, certainly not.
No, he would. No,
I'm
he would
kicking
not.
myself for not
he would
doing
let
that.
Right. First of all, he wouldn't bet.
Yeah,
okay,
I'm not a bettor.
He's not a bettor.
Except for
I was down
big bets.
I was down in Vegas one time, and I literally had to plead with him. I was like, "Listen, I'm going to go ahead and place." I think it was like a $20 wager on something. And
we were at Coquel.
No. But before that, I was down in Vegas.
Oh, you were down in
time.
Vegas.
I was down there.
Yeah,
and I was
right.
on the phone with you. I said, "Listen, I'll put something fun down so I can give you some entertainment sitting at home. You're not going to take any risk because it's my money."
Yeah.
So, and it was all right. And
I don't remember what we did.
It was something for probably baseball because I'm normally down there 2 times a year when I was doing that kind of stuff.
I have to be dragged into it a little bit, but this is one of those ones that I just sat there and I was like, you know what? I could have committed $10 toward this. So. There you go. Maybe I'm hooked now. Maybe I'll be the next Brendan Sorsby. Sorry, I shouldn't go there.
No, you shouldn't. So Ronaldo finally woke up.
He did. After 10 international matches, he finally scored a goal, and he scores 2 against Uzbekistan of all teams. So now he's up to 10 goals all time, which puts him tied for 6th or 7th, I believe. Mm-hmm. So he responds to Lionel Messi, who has basically shut the door on the GOAT case, which Ronaldo and him were fighting for years and years and years.
Very nice.
So, and Portugal's a really good team, so they needed to see a win like this. So it's definitely going to be interesting to see how they continue this going forward because, as I said, the stars are starring.
So, not doing very well. England and Ghana, 0-0, 87th minute in Group L. Does this mean it probably means more for Ghana than it does for England right now?
It means it means a lot for Ghana because They're tied for second, and they won their first game, so they have 3 points with a goal differential of 1. And Croatia has 0 points, and their goal differential is -2.
So if this ends up the way it is, Ghana will move through then, right?
Well,
Right.
there's a third game, right? So if they tie,
Well, there's
then
possible
Croatia-
that 3 teams can make it out of the group as well. I
Yeah.
think basically what it means is that Croatia, even if they win, won't have as many points as Ghana.
Got it. So, and that's where the next knockout round, you're going to get a more favorable draw the better
Right.
you are coming out of your pool.
And
play.
I think coming into this one, England was certainly favored to just outright win it.
Well,
so
listen,
getting a point out of that was big for Ghana.
Ghana had 2 on their own, not done yet. So winner advances to
That's
the knockout
true. I
round.
shouldn't speak too
Yeah,
soon.
so it doesn't say what happens if they tie at 0-0.
They'll
but-
have the top 2, England and Ghana, will have 4 points.
Okay. So Ghana has had 3 really good opportunities to score a goal.
England
And-
just hit the crossbar, and then Harry Kane shot it in the third row.
You got to be careful, though, with these matches sometimes, though, because that was exactly what was happening with Germany and Ivory Coast, where Ivory Coast had this like beautiful opportunity that I talked about yesterday, and they passed it up, didn't shoot it, and then seconds later it felt like Germany scores in the 90th minute. Now they win instead of it being this great Ivory Coast story. All of a sudden, it's like these big clubs know how to do this. I would not be surprised if Italy put down a goal. Or sorry, Italy. Italy hasn't been in the World Cup for 3 World Cups now. But for England, wouldn't be surprised if they put down a goal here in the next stoppage time.
So I just have to ask for right now, are you going to have to be in a support group after the World Cups are? Are you going to be depressed a little bit
No.
after the World Cup's over?
No, I especially if it ended the way it did last time. I just remember being so like thrilled and just
Okay.
fulfilled. It's just so fulfilling to me, and it's got to end some point, right? Like,
Well, yeah.
I want
Seasons end.
I
yeah.
want to use this to get more into MLS, get more into
EPL.
Premier League. Exactly. I never had a Premier League. That's kind of the tough thing if you're a fan in the United States, where it's like I just don't know who to root for. I like players. I always like Messi, so it's been great to watch him for Argentina. But I kind of get the idea of like rooting for a team, and that's great. But I want to root for somebody, you know.
That England header was literally 2 inches from going in.
Yeah, and then Harry Kane missed. Did y'all hear about the Ghanaian witch doctor?
No.
Really quick.
Nanu Kawaku Banzam has vowed to put a curse on Harry Kane for Tuesday's game. He's quoted, "I'm working on Harry Kane. I have shown them what I'm capable of for, so I know what work I must do to stop him." And apparently in 2014, he put a curse on Ronaldo, and Ronaldo got injured in the game in the World Cup.
Oh my Lord,
and so, yeah,
we're bringing voodoo
It's like
into
the
this?
Madden
There's
curse.
some voodoo. There's some voodoo.
Oh my gosh.
Crazy.
All right.
Thank you for bringing that up.
Wait a second. No, hold on the dad joke for a second. So we made an announcement yesterday, or I made the announcement with Baby J, that on July 3rd at The Graduate, we'll be doing a big pre-classic show. We're going to have a ton of guests. I resent you the guest list, by the way, so you've got it. And then we're going to go 1 to 4, and that'll be our last show for Danny and Justin. I just want to let people know. There's going to be an announcement next week I'm going to make on this radio program. We've got 9 shows left. We want to help celebrate. We're going to give you guys a chance to say hi to us, okay? We'll go up to Laurelwood after the last show. You're going to like what comes next. I'm just going to say it that way. We are not abandoning local radio. That's all I can say.
Mm-hmm.
Okay? So, yes, Danny and Justin's going away. 9 shows left. I'm going to do a countdown every day until we do the last one. Here we go.
Oh, a joke!
I got fired from the bank today. A woman asked me to check her balance, so I pushed her.
Dad jokes!
Can I get 2 in a row?
You got one?
No
Yesterday's,
way.
yep.
Yeah, he did. He was so proud of himself.
Very happy.
Very proud of himself. Which school subject was a witch's favorite? Which school subject was a witch's favorite? Do not say anything. No.
I don't know it. I don't know it.
Okay, I'm not going to get 2
I was
in a row.
going to say science.
No, probably not science. Probably the opposite
No.
of science.
Spelling.
You know what?
So witch's favorite subject is spelling.
You know what that is? That does make sense. That adds up.
Yeah, it does.
That adds up.
All right, tomorrow on the program, we've got
Jacob Archer.
Jacob Archer, voice of the M's. Is he in studio tomorrow?
He is going to be in studio.
Awesome. Homestand again, obviously. If Jacob is in studio, the M's are playing at PK Park. So hang on, kids. Thursday, we're going to have the General. We're going to talk a lot of pre-classic and things coming up at Hayward Field. And then on Friday, Tyson Alger.
Yep.
A big World Cup day on Friday.
Absolutely.
So we'll talk to Tyson, who's covering it up front and in person. Hawk on the controls, Baby J to my right. I'm Doc. Thanks for lending us your ears, guys.